G from Bangalore.
Am I audible?
Venu sir is audible. So,
I think Arup sir's audio got frozen. We'll start, my lad.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes, sir. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Last time we had discussed section 22. We have finished quite a bit, and we are left with two, three issues which we could not take it up in the earlier session. We can discuss now. The last session at the end, we were discussing in respect of having a fixed establishment in the work site. For example, where in case of Konkan Railway, it was held that fixed registration is required at the work site because and there is a contrary decision also. The what is the important is first we need to assess whether we are creating any fixed establishment in the place where we are providing a works contract service. So section 2 subsection 15 defines means a place other than the registered place of other than the place of business which is characterized by a sufficient degree of permanency and suitable structure in terms of human and technical resources to supply services or to receive and use the services for its own needs. So if each cases we need to ascertain whether there is a fixed establishment whether it is getting created in the workplace. If there is a fixed establishment, then the registration becomes a compulsory. Otherwise, the IGST billing is sufficient. Yeah. So again, we have Sonkamal Enterprises case where the issue was at the time when the imported goods is landed in a port, whether those goods has to be brought back to the place of business and then it has to be moved from a place of business to other place. If the company decided to move the goods directly from the port of importation to the customer place, whether the registration is required in the state where the import has happened. So it was held there is no requirement to have any registration in the other state where the imported goods have been stored. Even in case if the imported goods are stored in the warehouse, there is no requirement to take a registration in those states. Yeah, same. We have one more AIR in Maharashtra, so there is no requirement to have a separate registration. Again, we find a lot of challenge in respect of group companies are where we use the shared workspace like WeWork and other places where whether the registration can be taken in the same place, multiple registration can be taken in the same place was the question in case of Kerala WAR. So the co-working space where registration can be because the co-working space have a separate earmark desk and other things. So it was held that even registration can be taken for a desk number because the only requirement what they want is the separate earmarked space. Even one floor, there should be earmarked desk and the registration can be taken for each desk. Only thing is in the registration agreement or rental agreement or lease agreement, this desk number has to be earmarked and it's separately mentioned and board should be placed so that for each desk, one registration can be taken to enable this. Any practical issue anyone faced or anything to be added in this?
Yeah, I think this is a huge issue now, the co-working space. The issue is so huge that it's coming in the GRC, Grievance Redressal Committee meeting, in every alternate meeting.
Hmm.
So many, especially in some of the states like West Bengal, Odisha, even I think in Maharashtra to a large extent,
Connect again soon.
to a large extent, the registrations are not being given for co-working spaces. So you are being told to give a separate map that where your places are located, and or you are being told that where is the right to use the common space and all those things. So all those things are there. So in fact, here we in West Bengal we have represented to the commissioners of both CGST and SGST to consider this and prepare a separate SOP, because we have to understand that with the change in the dynamics of the e-commerce operator like Flipkart, Amazon, etc. Now they have made it a mandatory condition that you have to have your presence in say 10 metro cities. Maybe in Calcutta you are.
Arup, we lost your voice.
Yeah.
So the challenge, Mylar, here is
Yes, sir.
respective desk number. Now the co-working spaces comes with a multiple plans, and one of the plan is you can actually sit
Yeah.
wherever it is.
Yeah. So that's what we have requested, that we cannot have this restriction ki for co-working you will not give us registration. And in co-working, another special problem that we are facing is regarding the maintenance of books of accounts. It says that in the PPOB, the books of accounts has to be maintained. But here the books of accounts are maintained, say in the central office, say it's in Mumbai, Karnataka or Delhi, wherever it is, the main office is located. So anybody getting such notices like in West Bengal, now at the time of registration only, they are giving this notice that where do you maintain your books of accounts? Please confirm. Because we had gone for inspection and you could not see any system in your cubicle or so. So we don't think you will be maintaining any books of accounts here. So what is the view in other states regarding these two things? One is about maintenance of books of accounts. Second is continuous availability of authorized representative in that particular place of business. That is again another problem that we are facing here. That they are saying that some authorized representative should be there. And now co-working spaces, previously they used to give the name of the manager as authorized representative. But now after a few incidents in Kolkata of fake credit and all, where the managers of the co-working spaces, they were also taken not into custody, but they were taken for interrogation. So after that, the co-working spaces, they have stopped giving the name of the managers as an authorized representative. So how are you circumventing these two issues in other states, if somebody can share? Or are you getting such notices or queries at the time of registration? So that is one thing.
I would say I had a difficulty in registration itself, and it took almost 6 months in one
Okay.
case. But the only
This is,
challenge,
yeah. This is in which state?
Goa.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Warehousing also we are facing the same problem, sir.
Yes, warehousing also, right. Even for the
Warehousing also we are facing the same problem. See, even one of my clients has constructed a huge warehouse where whenever the need arises, the parties come and stock it. It is mainly meant for the cotton stocking, sir. So some of the mills, they do not have the space, so they will avail these services, and then for that they do not allow this one, sir. The registration becomes huge problem. So they want there should be a registration, because sometimes the mills after stocking they will sell it the same to other person. So they say the registration is mandatory, but you cannot take the registration. So there is a dilemma.
But sir, what are the grounds raised by them? Are they raising any grounds as to why registration will not be allowed?
See,
In
there
the show cause notice.
a separate entrance. See, there should be a separate, because there is a Madras High Court decision. They say, see, that they allowed the registration was rejected. So the registered taxable person went to the court. The court directed, okay, you demarcate the property, and then after that you give the registration. So that type of direction was given. So due to this fact, they insist on there should be a separate entrance and everything. But in a warehousing, it is not possible. That is also, it is a specialized warehouse with what do you say, this trucks and everything can come in, and then they can unload. All those facilities are there, sir. So whenever there is a space in particular area, they will put it there. Now they want to say, No. You have to put the markings or anything. There is no separate identification. Then how can we verify when we come for inspection? So on this ground, they have rejected the registration, but they want there should be a place for the shipping the goods. You must have a registration. From there only you can make a supply. That is the view, sir. So paradoxical view they say they are taking.
Right. So any other view from any other member on this? On co-working or warehousing, how you are resolving the issue, or what are the issues that you are facing? Because at least in Odisha, West Bengal, you are facing a huge issue on this. Because as you see, yeah,
Arup bhai,
yeah,
Rajesh here, I don't know about these practicalities, but I think looking from the perspective of a legal and the contextual thing, the GST is on the business. So business's definition is pretty wide. So I think the government also, especially in the context of the services, this premises-based registration, I think you rightly pointed out that representation is going in. I think the government should be made aware of the fact of a virtual offices being there as far as the services are concerned. Probably the demarcation or the rules or the guidelines for registration in the context of goods vis-a-vis services probably needs to be segregated, whereas for the services, there should be a sort of a relaxation, especially all these co-working spaces are in the context of essentially services. So in that context, probably a representation needs to be made, uh, bifurcating the registration qua services and goods. Where even though service and goods is treated as goods, but qua services, I think there should be a little more relaxing guidelines. There cannot be a common registration guideline for both. This is what I think should be the way we need to present it, because the context of the business definition is pretty wide.
right, right. So you have rightly pointed out, for services, it should be more liberal. And the main context is whether there is any restriction. Like if I'm not maintaining my books of accounts at the PPOB, so is it something that I have to declare at the time of registration, or is it post registration? So that is again another ground that mainly we are raising. That
No,
once I get the
I'll put it little differently. By the fact that I am not getting registration, will there not be a supply? Will there not be a tax liability? And how, without giving registration, how can I comply with the law? So it is more so they have to enable us. It is not sort of a restriction. It is true that there are a lot of misappropriation of this registration is a different context. But technically speaking, the which comes first? Obviously, your supply comes first, then your registration comes. They are ignoring the fact that your registration should be first, and you are talking about supply. So I think basically laws should enable the payment of tax. Okay, if they don't give registration, should I stop my business? That is where the fundamental question lies. Should I not continue my business if they're not given registration? I cannot do a business because of non-registration. That is a lot of writ petitions are being filed, referring to
yes,
Article 19, saying that it is not supporting my business activity. So all these conditions are coming in my way of my doing business. So that is the basic approach. I think probably they should be made come out of their this yellow-eyed, sorry, wherein they only they say that everybody is aware. So how the registration, by taking registration, they're not aware, is what they're looking into, rather than seeing that there are genuine business people who are doing business. I think probably we need to look at the practice. You interact a lot with these bureaucrats. Probably you should make them aware of this.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So any other views on this, or we'll move on to the next part? And another interesting thing would be how you're taking the defense. If you're facing a problem on this in other states, like Maharashtra, Gujarat, or Tamil Nadu, how are you defense? How are you finding a defense for this? So that is again something interesting that needs to be seen. Okay, I think so. We'll move, Mailaji, then we'll move with the next.
Yeah. Thank you for all the inputs. Even Rajesh sir has pointed out very well. Apart from that, even goods, we have so many business enterprises who are not physically storing the goods on order basis. They will just buy build to ship to cases where there is no requirement of having physical space at all for storing goods. In those cases, the government should see and give some guidelines as SOP as Anup sir rightly pointed out. Yeah. So this is one of the other issue what we are facing in respect of GST registration. Then we'll next issue we will take in respect of IRP and RP. Okay. Say we have a notification 11/2020 central tax which provide a special procedure in case of a corporate debtor who are undergoing insolvency proceedings. So there can be two scenario where the application for insolvency is applied and NCLT has approved the application where the moratorium period has started. When the moratorium period has started, there can be two scenario. One, GST returns are filed till date. Second, where the GST returns are not filed till date. Okay. See, when the moratorium period starts, the past due become a claim by the government to be filed with the interim resolution professional, and then any new business from the date when the moratorium period starts becomes a different liability. So the only problem that arises in this situation is where there is a proper filing of return and other things, the only authorized signatory will get changed. Instead of from the management, the authorized signatory will become our interim resolution professional. Once the interim resolution professional appoints by the committee of creditors as a resolution professional, he will continue. If the creditors appoint a new person as a resolution professionals, then the authorized signatory in the resolution will change. At the end, if they are not able to come with any plan, if the liquidation is proposed, then liquidator will become an authorized signatory. This happens only in case where there is a proper filing of return and which can be continued, the registration can be continued. We'll take a situation where 6 months, 1 year returns has not been filed. In those situations, what happens, it's very difficult for an interim resolution professional to pay the taxes of the ongoing transaction after the moratorium period starts. When the moratorium period starts, the interim resolution professional will not be in the position to pay the taxes that from the time the moratorium starts for the ongoing businesses. In those cases, that's notification 11/2020 has come up with a concept called taking a new registration. The new registration has to be taken by interim resolution professionals, and he will pay the taxes as per this, and in respect of the earlier dues will form part of a creditors in the waterfall payment that will be taken care separately. But in respect of the limited discussion of the registration, the interim resolution professional has to take a registration provided if the earlier returns are not been filed up to date. Okay, so we have some issues which need to be discussed in this. And liquidator has to take a new registration. That is what we discussed now. Now we will take up some of the issues and then we will discuss. So we in the para 4(1) of the notification says that the said class of person shall in his first return be eligible to avail input tax credit on the invoices covering the supply of the goods and services are both received since his appointment as a IRP RP, but bearing the GST number of the erstwhile registered person, subject to the conditions of Chapter 5 of the said Act and the rules made thereunder except the provisions of 16.4 and 36.4. So this was the para which was inserted in 2020 when the notification as issued. Now the important issue that comes in, there was no exception created for 16.2AA. When the notification was issued, there was no reference to there was no 16.2AA and there was no reference to that. But in chapter 5, there was a new section which is inserted. So can they say because of the 16.2AA, where the interim registration professional, can he take the ITC or not? That is also one of the issues that will emerge. Because in the notification, the para 4, they already given a relaxation for 36.4. Because in that point of time, 2020, the restriction was only for 36.4. There was no 16.2AA. So considering this, if the entire essence of the notification and what is the difficulty being faced and what was the solution that the government wanted to give, if you see that, so that should not be an issue. The 16.2AA should not be a restriction. They should be allowed to take the ITC. That is what. So, any other view on this? I'm audible, right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah. Any other view on this particular para?
So, given that the 16.2 was getting discussed, I am looking at a scenario wherein other than IRP, just some time back where Rajesh sir also mentioned about you are restricting me to conduct the business. Now imagine a state where you are taking additional place of business, registration, adding the additional place of business, and that is not getting added because of various the landlord has not paid the property tax and or the rental agreement name and the electricity name, there is some mismatch that is in parents and something for whatever the reason. All right. So now how do you say, okay, you may say that, okay, we are discussing ITC here, but how do you look at it now when the goods have been received to that location, but the GST number in the state it is there, and the address, the delivery address is in a unregistered place. Do you see that as an issue?
So one point is, once you're registered in the state, you are registered everywhere in the state. So you're not unregistered in any place. The only thing is the procedural requirement. You need to have that additional place of business wherever you have little bit of permanence in respect of place.
So now what is the impact of not having that additional place of business?
So allegation is normally raised by revenue that since you do not have the additional.
Arup ji, आपका आवाज like बहुत ही धीमी and it is like we are losing. It comes
More
with
often.
echo. Mylar and others. So now how important is having the additional place of business being added?
Sorry, there is some network issue, I think, at my place.
Now we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. So I'm saying the allegation that is raised by the revenue is that since the additional place of business is not registered in your along with the main registration, so you have received the goods at a place which is not your bona fide place of business. Okay. So that is where some of the ITC is, in some cases, it is being rejected. Though we have taken the ground, as Mylarji has rightly pointed out, that in that particular state I am registered. So nowhere it says that I have to receive the goods only at my registered place of business. I can receive it in any other place also. But there they are raising this context that why didn't you do bill to ship to if it is not registered? So in my personal view, even if the additional place of business is not registered, it's a non-compliance as per the Act, but that does not have anything to do with the ineligibility of my ITC. Because Section 16 nowhere says that I have to receive it only at my additional place of business or place of business. I have to receive it. So, and that place is my bona fide place because I can establish it through my rent agreement, through all the other details that I have. I'm already working there. I have the local trade license, everything is there. Only because of some technicality, I've not got the registration in place.
I think, Arupji, in the context of earlier service tax regime, the similar issue came up for the receipt of services. So there are a number of decisions which the tribunals have consistently held that the receipt is qua person, registered person, not a qua place. So the input tax credit, I mean, Senate credit cannot be denied for the fact that it was not received in a registered place of business, I mean, registered place. So I think the same, those cases can be adopted and that rationally can clearly be adopted here for such notices, I think.
Right, sir. That is one of the ground that we are taking.
Yeah, that is also common in case of where work from home for employees where internet was provided to their house address and the employees are working from home. The input tax credit on those invoices also is the same issue. I think same grounds we should take.
Myla, next question.
Yeah.
On the same slide, how would the IRP take the ITC which is there in the erstwhile GST? Okay,
so this is the exception which was created due to the practical difficulty being faced by a IRP. See, it is not that ITC of the previous registration is taken to here. Once the moratorium period is started, so the earlier registration will get end. If any invoices issued after the moratorium period, only those ITC can only be taken by a IRP and not entire ITC of the past period. Only from IRP proceeding stands. From that period, if any invoice was issued, because there is a practical difficulty, you have started IRP proceeding and you have taken a new registration, the vendor may not be aware of the new registration. If they are uploading invoices to the old registration, from that date, even though it is under the old GSTN, it can be taken by IRP.
But look at practicality. How do it is there in the 2B of one GSTN, you're asking it to take it to 3B of another GSTN.
Correct. So there can be a possibility of notice and other things, but this provision has to be shown and has to be explained and we have to get rid of it. So the practical problem will be there, but ultimately we are following the provision.
Now,
Actually,
this is coming by way of circular.
Notifications.
Notification. Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, got it.
A special provision for a registration of IRP.
Right, done.
We are doing this, and the thing is that when department is issuing a notice, they are also checking the thing in the case of this, whether it, because the IRP registration is taken as an IRP. So the officer who is going to issue the notice, they're normally checking whether the IRP is for which company and whether that company has a two-way balance or not. So that's what we have seen in some of the notices. Like last week only we got a notice for an IRP, but there the officer clearly said that इसमें इतना लेकिन आपका पुराना registration में है, बाकी का आप हमें बताओ. Why did you take the extra? So that is one thing. But here, my lord, what the practical problem we are facing is regarding the payments. So what has typically happened? I have entered into the contract when the company was in operation. Now the company has gone into CIRP proceedings. Okay, and the work is completed after the CIRP proceedings have been set in place. When the NCLT has appointed me as the IRP or the RP, the NCLT has appointed me as the IRP or the RP. After that, the work is being done. Now here, nobody is there to confirm whether the work is in place or not, whether it has to be certified, how much has to be paid. So there, that is where we are not able to make the payments. And because of that, again, here we are facing this particular problem. Again, in some cases of IRP, because of the non-payment, again, we are facing this problem because we are not able to pay actually. It is not that we don't want to pay, but we are not able to pay because there is no one to confirm. as to whether the work has been correctly done or not. So I think this is again one major issue that is being raised, because here, yeah, Rule 37, whether it can be relaxed in these cases. So because practically the IRP is not gaining anything because of this. He's not in an advantage position by availing extra credit. Whatever is going for the benefit of the company. So there again, this is a major issue which is coming in.
Okay. But again, the service whether rendered after moratorium period or before moratorium period, that is also matters.
Yes, that is again another issue. But here I have got the bill after the moratorium period, only after the CRP process set in and the IRP I have been appointed.
No,
But the
whether
problem is that, yeah,
Hmm.
but there is no one to certify the genuineness of the job, because being an IRP, I'm not aware about the technicalities. But the person is saying, no, this is something that we have, and that is something which has to be done. Like, say, maintenance of my machinery. Even if as an IRP, I want to sell the machinery, I have to maintain the machines. So maintenance is being done, but whether the maintenance is proper or not, I'm not aware, because I'm not technically sound.
Sir, one doubt I have, in case of such delayed payments and after the IP process has started, whether that write back of, you have to reverse the credit, whether what happens to the reversal of credit? Should it be done or should it not be done?
Actually,
So
for many, yeah. Yeah, mileage, yeah, first.
Yeah. So if once the moratorium period is started, so there is no requirement of paying any taxes, and there is no requirement of even writing up of input tax credit, because the entire debt, there is the tax liability. Once the moratorium period is started, the officer has to identify what is the total liability that the company has to pay till the date of moratorium, and that will come in the rank as a waterfall payment basis. So this has to be assessed by the officer, and they may quantify what is the total demand that the company has to pay. Rabji, if I'm
Left.
right, you just
Left. No, yeah, sir, your question is regarding what? Any liability that is arising to me, ITC that is arising to me after the moratorium period has set in or before that?
Yeah,
I
after.
mean to say,
In respect
yeah.
of earlier payments,
Okay.
and the payment has not been done, it is still a credit. Then, and suddenly the moratorium sets in. So, should there be a reversal? Because that 180 days time limit is there, no? For reversal.
Yeah. So in that case, the view that we have taken is that since it's a legal procedure, reversal has to be done by the erstwhile company in the erstwhile registration, wherever I have taken the credit and all. But what Mailaji is saying is about the recovery. Department cannot do any recovery, and I don't need to pay any. The IRP cannot pay any of the taxes of the earlier period. But regarding compliances, though, practically what happens is because the directors are not there, there is nobody to take care of the old registration. So none of these things happen. Only in a few cases we have got this opportunity to do all the compliances, as we have rightly pointed out, of Rule 37 and all. So wherever the directors are available and all, we have done these compliances of Rule 37, Rule 42, whatever compliance done. We have done it till the date of CIRP setting in. But because of the non-availability, if you are not doing it also, since the department cannot do any recovery for the period till the monitoring period is set in, so that is not going to impact the company as such.
Okay.
So if there are any other queries on the IRP, RP, I think, yeah.
Okay. So next issue is the para in the such register in the same notification says that such registration shall be called as a distinct person of a corporate debtor. What are the tax implication on this? Because the new registration of IRP and old registration was deemed to be a distinct person for the purpose of GST. Then the question comes, can the assets and goods of the old distinct person be sold by a other distinct person without issue of invoice? By old distinct person to new distinct person will come as a doubt. But if you see the entire scheme, so there was no intent of taking a new registration, but for the compliance after the moratorium period. So because of this new register, even though they say distinct person, but it should be seen liberally. And just to comply with the provision of payment of taxes after the moratorium period, the new registration has been taken. Even though they use the word distinct person, according to me, there should not be any issue in respect of sale of old distinct person to new distinct person. All this should not get applicable in this case. Any other views?
Mileage, when we had discussed about the circular after it had come and we are discussing in different forums, in the government forums. So their purpose of bringing the distinct person was for the beneficial interest of the RP. So you get the benefit of second proviso of Rule 28. So because as you know, many of the RPs, they have been attacked for selling goods at a lower value and all those things were there, right? So the basic concept is that when the company is doing any service to the RP, because at times you are taking the goods and you are then selling it on the books of the RP. So many of the RPs prefer to do that. So when you are doing that, at what valuation you are taking the plant and machinery from the parent company, from the original company, which is under the CIRP. So that will not be questioned because now they are distinct persons. Whatever is the thing that needs to be judged by the honorable courts is at what value the IRP is selling to the outsider, whether that is sold at undervalued value or not. So this is kind of a protection that is given to the IRP for the transfer of any transaction between the erstwhile company and the IRP.
Okay. But according to me, there cannot be any transaction between earlier registration to current registration.
No, we have certain transactions. No, like in some cases, like royalty and all, royalty transfer and all. The person who is buying the right to use of that particular thing, they want the agreement with the IRP only.
Correct.
Okay, because so in that case, what do we have a MOU between the parent company and the IRP, wherein the thing is being transferred, and then we transfer it to the new company. But essentially, in the records, everything is in the name of the company only. So without that transfer, the IRP cannot transfer the right to use of that particular royalty.
No,
so in this, some of the cases we face is practical issues where then we have to get the thing transferred.
No, but according to me, this concept is only this distinct person is only for a GST. But if you see, IBC
only for GST only.
Yeah.
Only for GST only.
Yeah. For IBC proceeding, the management will seize us and IRP will take control of the company. But the company as such is the same. There is no different company.
No, nothing.
Yeah, tripartite agreement, because instead of the management director authority, now the IRP has authority to enter into an agreement on behalf of the company.
Yeah, on the basis of the conclusion of the COC, whatever the COC is saying.
Correct, COC approves more than 60%.
Yeah.
Okay. Now again, there was one more issue which was pointed out. We will just see one more para and then we'll come back to this. And this relaxation is also applicable to any person who has purchased the goods and services from the interim resolution professional or resolution professional till the date of registration as required in the notification, or 30 days from the date of issue of this notification, whichever is earlier, be eligible to take away the input tax credit on the invoice issued using the GSTN of the erstwhile registered person, subject to the conditions of Chapter 5 of this Act and rules that the render except the provision of 36(4). Again, 16 to AA will come here, but we'll keep that aside. So here also one more, because I started with the notification, I take the issues in that notification. So here one more issue that comes up here is any person who has taken the services from IRP during this monetary period, that person will get an input tax credit, even though the invoice contains the GSTN of the erstwhile registration, but the taxes has to be paid by this person. So whether that requires any issue of revised invoice, because if the concept of revised invoice is in place, then there was no question of 36(4), because they inserted 36(4) and the invoice bearing GSTN of the erstwhile registration was obtained. So then the doubt arises whether the IRP or RP required to issue a revised invoice once the registration is taken. Abji,
Yeah.
if you're
Here actually what is missed is a consequential relief. When you are telling me that I can take the ITC in the name of the previous GSTN, but I am not making the payment to the previous GSTN. So you should have also given me relief under section 16(2)(c), saying that if I'm making the payment to the IRP, it will suffice.
correct, that is fine. That's fine. I'm
Yeah,
asking the
so that
question regarding revised invoice, whether IRP or RP is required to issue a revised invoice.
no,
What-
because of that only the IRP is issuing a revised invoice. In many of the cases, because the person is not making the payment to the IRP because they are scared that they will not be able to get the ITC in the name of the previous GSTN because nothing is told about the consequence. They have told about availing the ITC, but they have not given the consequential relief for 16(2)(c). So the recipient is scared that मैं अगर credit ले लूंगा कल जाके if there is a violation of 16(2)(c), I'll have to reverse this because I've not paid to the erstwhile company, I'm paying to the IRP. And all those definition of 293 recipient and all. So though that is not applicable from the supplier side. That if I'm paying to one supplier in place of another supplier, like in case of recipient, it is there that one person can be the recipient, other person can be making the payment. But in supply, there is no such context that wherein I'm receiving the services from somebody and I'm paying to somebody else. So because of this consequential relief not being there, many of the IRPs and why this provision had to be born also we brought in, that also we need to understand. Because what happens between my appointment as an IRP by the NCLT and the time I get for applying the registration, it normally takes around 3 to 6 months. The order comes in, COC says, and all those things, all approvals are there. My documents have to be prepared, the documents for the principal place of business and all those things. Though now there is relaxation on principal place of business. If you are getting it in the same place of the old office, then they are not getting into all those investigations and reviews and all. So having said that, since this 5 to 6 months were going in, so there was this delay and the person was not able to avail the credit. So this provision had to be brought in. But practically what we are doing, the IRP has to issue all the invoices in his registration only. Otherwise, he's not getting the payment for all this. So that's what is happening on the ground level.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other views or any other person who has dealt practically?
Nothing, maybe you can proceed.
Yeah. That was the issues which I wanted to bring in respect of the registrations. If anything is there, we can discuss.
No, now I have an interesting question which has come out recently. So I am giving dumpers or payloaders on rent. So I've purchased the payloader in Karnataka. Okay. And I have requested the person to make the supply in Tamil Nadu. So the person has done a bill to ship to and he has billed it to Karnataka and shipped it to Tamil Nadu. Now the dumper was working in Tamil Nadu for Highway Corporate NHAI. Now the contract is over after 4 years. So I'm bringing back the dumper and it has been intercepted by the interception team. Now the question that the interception team is raising about e-way bill, that is a separate context altogether. But their main question is why haven't you taken registration in Tamil Nadu? Because as far as section 22 is concerned, you are giving the supply from here. So what is the view of the house on this? So when I am having a principal place of business, I'm having a fixed structure at Karnataka, and I've only given a vehicle on rent, let's say in Tamil Nadu. Do I need to compulsorily take registration in Tamil Nadu? What would be the meaning of making a supply in that particular state, according to the house?
No, so when I don't think, okay, another question. How will they demand anything they want to demand? Are they creating 122 penalty? Or what is the demand that they can create in this situation?
So they are saying that we'll have to issue a notice for taking compulsory registration, and then you will be assessed for all the periods, for the last all 4 periods, all 4 years in Tamil Nadu only.
But in Tamil Nadu, what is the activity I have carried?
Only giving rent of the machinery or say the
Machinery,
vehicle.
that's what I have given my machinery on rent.
Yes.
And
I don't have any fixed establishment, no person, because the machinery is being used by the contractor only. NHI is
Correct.
only using it.
So,
Alokji,
Yes, sir.
yes, Praveen bhai.
will this Tamil Nadu people have same query if a auditor goes to Tamil Nadu and does the audit, carrying his machinery as a pen, signing the balance sheet in Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, that is again an interesting proposition.
The
Sir,
point
earlier,
is, we
Yeah.
had
earlier
a long discussion on fixed establishment.
Right.
There has to be have a permanency in relation to presence, right? And
Right.
service sector, the location of supplier is you are registered in Karnataka. You are providing service in the state of Tamil Nadu, and there in service we need to have some SOPs, wherein these people need to understand that no registration in such cases required. There is very thin line of demarcation between फिक्स एस्टेब्लिशमेंट मतलब मैं आपको बहुत अलग तरीके से समझाने का ट्राई करूं.
हाँ बोलिए ना बोलिए.
एक सिचुएशन है रेंटिंग ऑफ हाउस. आई एम टर्मिंग फिक्स एस्टेब्लिशमेंट. अगर आप उस प्रॉपर्टी के ऊपर से पैसा कमाते हो तो चीज अलग है, उस प्रॉपर्टी के अंदर बैठ के पैसा कमाते हो तो चीज अलग है. If you are sitting inside, you need to have, that is a fixed establishment and not the fixed establishment from where you are making the money. अगर आप मशीन सप्लाई कर रहे हो, मशीन सप्लाई करके रेंटिंग कमा रहे हो, तो उसका कोई परमानेंट एस्टेब्लिशमेंट हुआ ही नहीं आपका. अगर परमानेंट एस्टेब्लिशमेंट इज नॉट एस्टेब्लिश्ड इन तमिलनाडु, then where is the question of registration and getting the tax locally assessed?
Right. I think that is wonderfully put. मतलब घर के ऊपर और घर के अंदर.
सर ये चीज हम लोगों ने महाराष्ट्र में ऑफिसर के साथ बैठ के रेंटिंग के केस में डिस्कस किया था कि सर हम लोगों का प्रॉपर्टी है इधर, बट वी आर नॉट हैविंग फिक्स्ड एस्टेब्लिशमेंट बिकॉज प्रॉपर्टी इज अ सब्जेक्ट टू रेवेन्यू. इट इज नॉट subject to the place from where I further generate revenue. That was the main point we discussed.
Okay. Okay. I think Sujata ma'am wants to add something. हाँ Sujata ma'am.
Yeah, just extension of your question, Praveenji's question. Assuming there is a corporate office in Tamil Nadu, okay, and branch office is in Karnataka, okay, Bangalore. Currently, branch office has taken registration in Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu does not provide any services. There is no outward supply. Just the corporate office, just in the MCA portal, they have registered the company in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so I am of the belief that no registration is required in Tamil Nadu. Okay, now but there is a rental premises. They have taken office, just to an office is there in Tamil Nadu. If that being the case, as per the new IST, do they need to take a IST registration because of the new mandatory registration under IST?
No, ISD is again where two distinct persons are there.
Okay.
So here I think you have only a single registration. So in this case, I think ISD will not be applicable.
Assuming
Because you are not.
RCM, if they are paying under RCM, if
Okay.
able to pay under RCM, obviously registration would be required. Let us take that case.
Okay. No, again, even in RCM also that, yeah, so you're saying then in that case, Tamil Nadu has to be registered, you're saying, compulsorily. So if Tamil Nadu has to be compulsorily registered and you have a branch office in Karnataka also, then only ISD becomes compulsory if I have to distribute any common input service.
Okay. If that other place decides not to avail they decide to forego the input tax credit in case of normal registration, then also do they have to register under IST?
No, there actually one concept will come if that place is not providing any business, so it will not have any turnover. So again, that rule 39 cannot be followed because entire turnover has to be going to Karnataka only. So in that perspective, we have to see whether there is actually any common input services or not, even if it is, I think, registered. Because then, and even if I'm doing an ISD, the entire thing will be allocated or attributed only to Karnataka. Because I don't have turnover in Tamil Nadu.
Correct. So, you mean to say that, we don't have to go for registration in Tamil Nadu?
Until unless you have a separate aggregate turnover in Tamil Nadu, in my view, we don't need to go for ISD registration.
Okay.
Because distribution of credit will not happen. It will happen only in Karnataka only, whatever is going.
It's all being services, so I'm just asking. We can take the stand that the services.
But again, yeah, no, sorry. I'm sorry. There is a provision in Rule
Mm.
39, I forgot, which says that if any of the units is not registered, okay, if any of the units is not registered, we have to transfer the credit there also. But in your case, the only thing is that unit is not registered and it does not have a turnover also, aggregate turnover. So that's the issue here. So if any unit is not registered, but it has a turnover, in that case also you have to distribute the ITC to the unregistered state also. It has to go through B2C, but it will go. It has to be transferred. In your case, it's an exception because you are taking the assumption that Tamil Nadu does not have any turnover.
Yeah, because I am just thinking of planning it in such a way that I don't go get into the registration provisions.
Arup,
Yeah, so if it does,
Madam,
yes.
no, I want to interrupt here. Let's say in the state of Tamil Nadu, I don't have any registration.
Yes.
My this truck or dump yard or tipper is running there. I am
Yes.
getting rental income on usage of that vehicle.
Right.
Time based, whatever be the duration. Now, when I am
Yes.
getting the rental income, the place of supply is Tamil Nadu, so the consumption based
Yes.
shifting is happening on the outward liability. When an
Right.
ISD which is sitting in Mumbai or Delhi, it is distributing the credit. So the credit is coming to Karnataka based
Yes.
on the turnover that it is making in Tamil Nadu.
Right.
And they are utilizing this ITC against the Tamil Nadu place of supply.
No, since you don't have any turnover, you cannot use the ITC. No.
No,
If
no.
you're not having any turnover.
Turnover is in Karnataka because the machine is from
Okay.
Karnataka, but it is flying in Tamil Nadu.
Right.
The
Right.
Karnataka fellow is already raising the invoice. So
Yes.
how can we say there is no revenue of Tamil Nadu? So there is a revenue of Tamil Nadu via Karnataka, and ISD
Yeah.
is getting distributed to Karnataka. That is suffice, no?
You prove that there is a turnover in Tamil Nadu just because it is flying through Tamil Nadu.
Correct, madam. So what we agreed and concluded, we don't need a registration in the state of Tamil Nadu.
Correct.
Right.
There is a no revenue loss because whenever I'm raising the invoice, I am keeping the place of supply as the recipient location, which is in Tamil Nadu. Recipient is going to get a credit of it. So while ISD being distributed, it gets distributed to Karnataka location. So I don't see any challenge is what I'm saying. Unless either I have not understood the question if Mylar has
No. The question of Sujata ma'am is different. Sujata ma'am is saying, I have a, yeah. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. Venuji, my question is different. I'm saying that there's no outward supply from Tamil Nadu.
It's a different case.
Situation in Tamil Nadu, right?
When I'm paying a rent, okay, when I'm paying a rent where I'm liable for RCM, just because RCM is there, should I need to go for registration? If that being the case, can I go for IST?
Okay.
No, madam. The RCM only if it is registered now. You are not registered, no RCM.
I would suggest the Karnataka is paying the rent for it. Let Karnataka pay it under RCM and be done with it.
But practically, Sujita, you just think being a corporate office, do you think they'll now supply to branch in Bangalore will be a very difficult proposition to this thing because they are taking audit service, the management is sitting there and your books of accounts as per the company law should be maintained there. So it is practically to better option is to take a registration and management charges to be billed to Karnataka will be a better option.
Okay. Case of service, Okay, let me just think it over because some of the questions came to my mind. Even if
Regarding that dumper which you said, Arupji, my feeling is that
Yes.
it be similar to suppose an exhibition is being conducted in say Coimbatore and in Tamil Nadu from the
Right.
owner is in some other state. Okay, so generally
Okay.
for such cases they would take a temporary registration now because the
Yes.
period of exhibition the rent is earned for that, and similarly those who put up stalls they will take a temporary registration.
Yes. Casual taxpayer.
Casual taxpayer. Can the same thing be applied to this in this case also? Because you don't know how many days I mean, there should be some registration. So casual registration should have been taken. That's what I feel.
But
No, I have to keep the dumper for 3 years because that is my contract with NHAI.
Oh, contract is like that. Okay, okay. Then
Yeah.
I think there should have been some registration thing. The only problem is it will be similar to that borewell machines which Namakkal people are running, in other states. I don't know what they do.
Okay.
Same thing.
Okay.
They take the borewell machines and they operate in Maharashtra and other places. I don't know. I think they take a casual registration and then do it. I don't know. The same logic could apply here also.
But both as entirely different proposition where we are going for exhibition, sir, my view. So we are taking the goods and having some temporary space there and then doing. Here, tipper is directly sent and providing services through tipper, and my registration and control will be in the same place. So both are a little bit different. I don't think the requirement of casual taxpayer will come in case of this.
But
Right.
here also the assembly is done there. The ownership is still with the person outside the state. No? Only the assembly is done in the exhibition ground.
No, you're talking of just assembly and display or display and sales?
Not sales. It's only assembly. It's only renting now. Same thing. The dumper is also being rented out. So the income in both cases will be from rent only.
For exhibition, there is a separate provision 12(6).
Correct. Correct.
So I think it's 10 o'clock. So
It cannot be merged with general provision 12(2) or 3.
right. Yes. So I think with this we come to the close of today's discussion on section 22.
Yeah.
So over to Venerji for the final vote of thanks and final concluding remarks.
Yeah. So firstly, Mylar, thank you. In between, we had to take a break, but in fact, the first session with some views of the Arpit and others, I think SMS is doing a very great job in making us look back those sections, and the case study approach is making us to think. Special thanks to Mylar for taking this session. And nevertheless, one thanks to Arup for doing the coordination job with the speakers. As usual, I keep saying, I want every one of you to come and take sessions. And wherever other faculty members, wherever you meet them in various sessions, just tell them, make sure you participate SMS. And Rajesh sir, your presence was a pleasant surprise today. Very thank you for your presence. Thank you, everyone. Good day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.